they think is really important with you. They've been working really hard all trimester to put their ideas together in a way to share them with all of you. So they've kept you in mind the entire time. For those of you who have ever done any kind of public speaking, you know that it takes a lot of courage to come up here and stand in front of this many people. So please be respectful audience members. And as it is appropriate, participate if they ask. And then make sure you give them a hearty round of applause after each speaker. And with all that said, without further ado, please welcome our first speaker to the stage.
Hi. How's everyone? Good. I just did that to warm up the stage for all of our fantastic speakers. Okay. When you're walking down the street or shopping in a shopping mart or anything that you want to do, you might see a teen walking around with their hood on, just like slouching with their hands in their pockets. Or you might see some dude cut you in the line at Disney, which is kind of neat. Or you might see some kid whining that Tommy took his toy or he didn't get a candy bar from the grocery store. But what if I told you that kid was 10 and was hitting himself and scratching at his mom's leg? Then I would be talking about my brother Chase. My name's Golan Montaigne, no, not Montana, and my brother has a rare mental disease called DMDD. DMDD stands for Disruptive Mood Dysregulation Disorder. This mental disease causes children to have constant aggression and annoyance to anything and anyone. And with the aggravation, especially comes the assumption, which he's always labeled with, and my least favorite phrase ever, anger issues. When I was in elementary school, I would get upset all the time. I would be in fights, suspension, and I would often have lunch detention. And the reason it started was because someone said that I had anger issues. They assumed that I couldn't handle myself, and people assume my brother can't handle himself. And that's what starts it, an assumption. When he gets annoyed or upset and does something wrong, he assumes that everything is his fault and he gets mad. But that's the thing, assumptions have taken over. They infect how we look, feel, and talk to people. Whether it's police brutality against African Americans, randomly selected checks by TSA on the Middle Easterns, and even me right now, I'm making the assumption that you, as everyone else, make these assumptions on anyone else. But with assumptions comes fear and insecurity. If people just asked more questions or kept to themselves and didn't get upset about a kid expressing his feelings in his own certain way, then I probably wouldn't be up here talking to all of you. This quote even says it all. We fear only what we don't understand. If we no longer fear, we could overcome. But to do that, we have to understand. We have to get to know the person. So if you see someone wearing a hoodie and sulking, think maybe life's not going their best right now, and this day isn't the best one. Or if someone cuts you in the line at Disney, they probably know the person who's just getting a drink. Or if you see a kid whining, don't think they have DMDD, because trust me, you'll know. But know that the only way for a young child to express themselves is by having a tantrum. So I'm not saying intrude on someone's privacy and barrage them with questions, but just remember that we are all different, and in our own ways we handle things different. Thank you.
Do you know the quote, one small step for chimp, one giant leap for mankind? You may or may not, but if I tell you that's how Neil Armstrong's quote should have been, because going to space was made possible by the sacrifice of chimps instead of us, you might understand it a bit better. The U.S. has stopped funding for monkey research, which is giving chimps a chance at a good life, but they have been treated well for what they have done for us. The chimps have 99% of the same DNA as us, so it's not that we're helping random animals, we're helping what was once us if we find them at home. I have always been fascinated in monkeys, and I think we should help something that has helped us grow as a society. Something those monkeys did is helping us with going to space. The first monkeys the U.S. launched into space was led by Albert on June 14, 1949, reaching a height of 39 miles. The next 5 monkeys, like Albert, all died. When they were getting sent into space, it brought back valuable information that would help us go to space, but it was very cruel. The sacrifices saved a lot of people over the 60 years they were used. Another thing those monkeys did is help us improve our medicine. Let's make this clear. It's not them testing with needles, it's us testing needles on them. All the monkeys in labs were vulnerable to being injected with needles and possible cures and diseases, so they can test those that might help them. Only might. They've been used this way to find cures for hepatitis and HIV. They were also used in the AIDS epidemic, but only 50 or so were used until they found they had different symptoms. 100 out of the 190 chimps that were at Chimp Haven were already injected with HIV or hepatitis, which shows just how many of them have been used. A sanctuary is where all chimps want to be, like these ones. These chimps get to enjoy their life, unlike others get to. Although a sanctuary costs $16,000 to $20,000 to take care of one chimp, including building, they might deserve a place in the sanctuary still. Do you think all they have done should be recognized? Well, I do, because monkeys have done so much for us. Now we should get back to them. Thank you.
I joined Ski Club about a year ago. I'd say it was the third trip to the ski resort, and you'd think I would have gotten the hang of getting here on time, right? Well, that's not exactly what happened. You see, I had a bottom locker last year, which meant I had to wait for the person above me to finish getting their stuff packed, because they never moved their legs to me to open my locker. So once I had got my stuff packed, I rushed to the cafeteria where the rest of my friends were waiting for me. Even though I managed to be at the cafeteria on time, I still had to change and put some things away in my bag. So I went to the bathroom and me not thinking of the time, slowly changed and slowly rearranged my bag so that extra things could fit. Little did I know the bus was about to take off. Once I had left the bathroom, I realized no one was in the cafeteria, so I rushed outside and saw the chaperone finish putting everything away and closed the bus door behind him. I sprinted over to the bus and started knocking on the glass door. Fortunately for me, the driver heard me and opened the door, and I got up and everything turned out to be fine. I'm Kaylee, a 7th grader here at Davis. Now, I want you to raise your hand if you've ever been late or missed something because you couldn't function and manage your time properly. Time management is very important, and I think most of us here think so too. Even if time management was the most important skill in the world, a lot of us would still find it hard to take control of their own time. I truly believe anyone can, no matter how busy their schedule is, if they can find out what to do and what not to do, and that's why I'm here today. I'm sure you've all heard of many ways in hand of how to manage your time, like planning ahead or making a list. I'm here to tell you, of course, how to manage your time, but also why some of these things you've heard are untrue. Do you multitask? 83.1% of 228 students think that multitasking is a point of skill to learn, and 16.9% say no. What if I told you the 16.9% was correct? Multitasking causes lots of stress and can be very dangerous. Of course, not all multitasking is dangerous, though. You could be eating food while watching TV, which is considered multitasking, and you can all agree that that's not dangerous. The dangerous part of multitasking, however, could be you texting and driving and end up in a car crash. Research from a study at Stanford University in 2009 showed that when multitaskers focused on a single task, their brain became less efficient and effective. That shows that multitasking can have a bad impact on your brain. Also, I'm sure you've heard that there's nothing wrong with procrastination, but let me tell you, procrastination doesn't work. Procrastination can form lots of stress and anxiety. There are many ways to stop procrastination, however. One thing you could do could be breaking your project or what you're doing into small steps and then formulate a plan. Another thing you could do is just start. You don't even need a plan, because starting is better than putting it off until the last minute. Now that you know some of the myths, let's talk about the tips for managing your time. It's very important to find the ones that are best for you. If you're the type of person that stays up all night, then you should be getting rest and relaxation. 53.9% of people get 7 to 8 hours of sleep, and 23.3% get 9 to 10 hours of sleep. But what about the 22.6% that get only about 5 to 6 hours of sleep? Most likely, those people have more anxiety and stress compared to people who get sleep like 9 to 10 hours. This info can even lead us back to procrastination. People who procrastinate will have more to do at one time, and let's just say, for example, You're a student coming home from a stressful day at school. If you were that student, you'd just like to relax, right? Well, maybe you wouldn't, because you have a club, some type of sport in 15 minutes, and that ends at 6, and soon after you have something to do. That results in you having to do all the homework you put off that week at night. You see, that scenario is some of the many after-school student school schedules. I know a couple of people who are athletes and procrastinators, and I know for a fact that they go to bed around 3 or 4 in the morning, all because they procrastinate their homework that they could have done a while ago. Sleep relaxes you and makes you have more energy for the tasks you have to do. So when you don't get sleep, you'll want to put off the tasks, which is procrastination. Overall, it really helps to just get some sleep. Another important tip that I think can work for everyone is tracking time for what you do in a week. This will help you a lot because after you get your data, you can look at it and cut out unnecessary/time-consuming activities. Also, when you're tracking time, you can reflect on that data and think, should I be spending this much time doing this? These are just some of the many tips for time management. Now the next time you're frustrated because you can't manage your time, think, can I make this task easier for me based on the info I know now? Thank you.
Raise your hand if you listen to a song at least once a week. How about 3 times a week? I listen to music every day, although until about 11 weeks ago, I barely knew that music could help people in more ways than enjoyment and relaxation. Music can actually heal people mentally based on what type of music it is. So, what is music therapy? Music therapy can include simply listening to music, singing, or dancing. The idea is that you can produce a different emotional state without the use of drugs or any other thing that could be harmful to you. You may have noticed that when you listen to music, you can feel different emotions as the songs change. You could feel sadness for the first song, and the next song feel joy. There is a quote that an American physician, philosopher, and author, Deborah Murdoch, said, "Music can heal the wounds that medicine cannot finish." Music improves mood. Studies show that listening to music can benefit overall well-being, help control feelings of love, hate, fear, etc., and create happiness and relaxation in everyday life. Music reduces stress. Listening to relaxing music, generally believed to have a slow tempo, low pitch, and no words, has been shown to reduce stress and fear in healthy people and people going through medical procedures. Music improves exercise. Studies suggest that music can improve medium to hard exercises that last for a while, boost mental and physical stimulation, and increase overall performance. Music reduces pain. In studies of patients recovering from surgery, those who listen to music before, during, or after surgery have less pain and more overall happiness compared with patients who do not listen to music as part of their care. Music provides comfort. Music therapy has also been used to help improve communication, coping, and expressions of feelings such as fear, loneliness, and anger in patients who have a serious illness and those who are in end-of-life care. Music improves thinking. Listening to music can help people with brain disease recall lost memories and even help maintain some mental abilities. Music also helps children with autism spectrum disorder. Studies of children with autism who have received music therapy showed improvement in social responses, communication skills, and attention skills. Music can also help with recovery. Music therapy can actually help people recover from an addiction because of the patterns. Now, I hope that none of you are planning to need to recover from anything major anytime soon. So, how does music help you? Music can actually improve long-term memory, and here's how. Imagine that you are listening to a song while playing your favorite video game with all of your friends and eating your favorite snack. Years later, you hear that song again and remember that exact moment in time. That particular memory makes you happy and positive for the rest of your day. I hope that all of you can agree that music is helpful now, even if you didn't really like music before. So, the next time that you think about music, think of it differently. Think of it as healing and calming you, and appreciate the people who made that song. Thank you.
Did you know that DeAndre Ayton, the first pick in the first round of the 2008 draft, started with a salary of $5,091,500 In that same year, in the WNBA, Women's National Basketball Association, Asia Wilson was also picked in the first round, and she was picked first. But her starting salary was only $50,000. Just think about that difference. Asia Wilson is earning more than an average female would, and around how much an average male makes. But however, DeAndre Ayton is making $5 million more than her a year. Why is this? Hi, my name is David Wu, and I have been interested in sports, and I listen to the national U.S. women's team, soccer team talk about this pay gap, so why not do research? So back to the question. Why is it that there is such a big pay gap between female and male athletes? Some of you may say it's just not fair, and some of you might say it's because sponsors are biased, which aren't wrong, but it's not the whole truth. You can obviously tell with the example I just gave you, or with this example involving Lionel Messi and Naomi Osaka. Lionel Messi is one of the top earning male athletes, and Naomi is one of the top earning female athletes. How much did they each make? Naomi made up to $24,300,000 last year, which is a lot compared to both DeAndre Ayton and Asia Wilson. But how much is Messi's salary? $127 million. That's almost a $100 million difference. Some of you may say that, guys, why use Naomi Osaka over Serena Williams? And Serena obviously makes a lot more. I chose Osaka over Williams because I was trying to prove that there's still a difference even without sponsorship. And Williams makes a lot of money off of endorsement deals. No disrespect to Serena, because she's still a god, or goddess at tennis. But Naomi played a lot better than Serena last year and made more money, which helps prove my point. Another controversial sport involving pay gap is soccer. How many of you guys have at least heard of something along the lines of the U.S. team having better pay or accommodation? If you haven't heard of something like that, you obviously live under a rock. But why is it that the women's team has made it to the final game of the World Cup for the past 3 World Cups, winning the last 2, making less than the U.S. men's team? The U.S. women's team made $3,000 for every win, while the men's team earned $12,500 for each one. And each one who made their 23-player roster earned $37,500. And the men's team, listen closely to what I said, had they qualified, would have made $68,750. However, the U.S. women's team did make more money than the men's team did in 2018 because they won the World Cup and earned $2 million each when the men didn't even qualify. And that's another thing. The U.S. women's team earned $2 million for their win when Germany in 2014 earned $35 million each in 2014 for winning. And in 2018, the France earned $35 million for each. And in 2018, the Men's World Cup generated 3.5 billion views worldwide, when in 2019, the Women's World Cup only generated 25.4 million. And more views mean more money, and more money means higher pay. FIFA itself might not be paying each player, but they do give money to each team for the views that the team generates. One last thing I want to ask, just because I'm curious, is how many of you females in this room would play a professional sport if you earned the same amount as a male athlete and had the talent? So basically, there's a pay gap between female and male athletes. I hope if you learned anything from my talk, that's what you learned. Anyway, people seem to think of it as something that if you protest, you can change, when there really is more to it. So the next time you're talking about pay gap between female and male athletes, I want you to think of the last time you watched a female athlete playing a sport, such as in the WNBA, in the NPF National Pro Fast Pitch for professional softball, or in the NCAA College Female Basketball, or WPS, Women's Professional Soccer, or anything along those lines. Because you say it's bad and it should be changed, which isn't wrong, but are you really helping to change it? Thank you.
I have a question for everyone. How many books have you read this month? Raise your hand if you read more than 15. 15 and 10 books? 10 and 5 books? 5 and 0? Good. Okay, now how many movies have you watched? raise your hand the whole time and drop it when I pass them out to watch. For example, if I said 5 to 10 and you watched only 2 movies, then you drop it as soon as I said 5 to 10 movies. So everyone's hand should be up to start off. Ready? Okay. 0 to 5. 5 to 10. 10 to 15. More than 15. Okay, did you all realize how I started with a high category of numbers for reading and counting down, but for watching movies, I counted up? That's because I started guessing with the number of books I read this month, well, at least close to it. The real number is 44. That's right, I read 44 books this month. I've only watched 5 movies. My name is Hosni Kunkunji, and I'm a 7th grader at Davis, and I'm also a huge reader that reads as much as I possibly can. After realizing how much reading I did, I was curious about how many books other age groups read and how many movies they watched. So I conducted a survey to find out. I found that on average, 7th graders read 2 books per month and watched 2 movies per month. I also surveyed 10th graders, and I found that they read 2 books and watched 3 movies per average. I surveyed 261 7th graders and 97 10th graders. That's a wide category. Remember how earlier I told you I read 44 books this month and watched only 5 movies? Well, you might be wondering why I read so many books but watched less movies. That's because when I read, I gain more benefits than I do while watching movies. That doesn't necessarily mean I don't get benefits from watching movies though. What are the general benefits of watching movies and reading books? First of all, you get free entertainment. You wouldn't really spend time reading books and watching movies unless you really enjoy doing it. It's fun to watch movies and read books. What are the other benefits of watching movies and reading books? Well, you also learn valuable lessons that can apply to real life too. We all know the movie Frozen, hopefully. When we watch this movie, we understand that no matter what happens, those who love us will never abandon us. The movies aren't the only particular experiences that give us lessons. In the book Charlotte's Web, we learn that friends are those we can rely on to help us through hard times. Now here's a powerful benefit you probably didn't think of that you get from movies and books. You get stress reduction. In 2009, a study at the University of Sussex found that reading can actually reduce your stress up to 68%. Did you also know that reading actually works better and faster than other relaxation methods like listening to music or drinking a hot cup of tea? This is because your mind goes into a literary world that is free from the stressors that worry your daily life. Similar thing when you watch a movie. When you watch a movie, you're escaping from the real world. You don't need to worry about problems that constantly run through your mind. You might even find ways to solve your own problems through others' experiences. Okay, so these are the benefits you get from reading and watching movies. While doing both things have advantages, reading gives you opportunities that watching movies doesn't. We obviously gain the basic advantages you probably know about already, like expanded vocabulary, improved writing skills, and being more empathetic, and other benefits like this. Something you might not have known though is when you read, your mind allows you to expand its creativity. When the book describes the setting or character, then your mind automatically pictures this in its own way. You're not limited with certain visuals. When it comes to movies, they might describe something in it, but usually you end up seeing how it looks before the movie is over. You don't get to really visualize it. This isn't necessarily a bad thing. It just doesn't help you really picture things the way your mind portrays it. Let's test this. I'm now going to describe a character from a book, and I want you to picture this in your head. A very strange person stepped out from among the trees into the light of the lamppost. He was only a little taller than Lucy herself, and he carried over his head an umbrella white with snow. From the waist upward, he was like a man, but his legs were shaped like a goat's. The hair on him was glossy black, and instead of feet, he had goat's hooves. He also had a tail, but Lucy did not notice this at first because it was neatly cut up over the arm that held the umbrella so as to keep it from trailing in the snow. He had a red woolen muffler around his neck, and his skin was rather reddish too. He had a strange but pleasant little face with a short pointed beard and curly hair, and out of the hair there stuck 2 holes, one on each side of his forehead. Now here's how this character looks in the movie. Is this what you imagined? Or is it something totally different? This character's name is Mr. Tumnus, and it's from the book Narnia by C.S. Lewis. There's no right way for a character to look if this isn't what you thought it would look. Now, next time though, I want you to truly think about this when you read something similarly descriptive. Another thing is time. This is something we take when reading. We take our time to clearly understand what's going on in the book. When we read something we don't understand, we usually go back and reread again and again to truly understand what we're reading. When watching a movie, we don't necessarily pause or rewind the movie to rewatch a scene we missed or that we didn't understand. We just keep on going with the movie like we understood it and didn't miss a scene even if we did. Our mind just processes what we see and hear while watching a movie. When reading though, our mind processes what we just read. It replays it for us in our head out loud or in our head sometimes if necessary. That's why when we read, we have better and improved memories. We can remember things a lot better too. These are all benefits you probably didn't think of. Finally though, I think people usually don't read a lot because they can't find what they like. Raise your hand if you feel like you're in that category. Well, here's the solution to that problem. Just pick up a book, experiment with it, see what you liked about it and what you didn't. Ask others for suggestions based on what you liked about that book and what you didn't. I know I can suggest so many books, and I bet those writers can too. Like James Patterson, a philanthropist and author, said, "There's no such thing as a kid who hates reading. There are kids who love reading and kids who are reading our own books." Thank you.
There was a king named Midas that lived in Greece. He was granted one wish from the gods. He asked that everything he touched turned into gold. This blessing then turned into a curse. It was hard to eat food like grapes, and when he hugged his daughter for comfort, she turned into gold. Something similar happened to us when we invented plastic. We had fun with it for a while, then it turned against us. Hi, my name is Faraz, and I've been learning about plastic for 2 years now. Animals are dying because of our poor choices. Beaches turn into landfills. And I don't want to go to a beach with plastic in it. Also, we eat fish that died with plastic inside them. Imagine eating your own trash. The question is, how did this all start? In 1862, Alexander Parks demonstrates the first man-made plastic. And this guy did not want to save the turtles. Now, his invention helped us do a lot of things like create cars, planes, and straws that have plastic. In 1846, the first National Plastics Exhibition opened in New York City to showcase all the new consumer uses for plastic to develop aid in World War II. During the war, plastic production had increased. Then in the early 1970s, plastic pebbles were found in the ocean. These pebbles come from plastic that had been in the water for a while. Also, these pebbles, also known as turtles, are toxic. This is where the problem all started. Why is this a problem? This is a problem because ocean animals are eating plastic because they think it's food. After the animal swallows it, they feel full like they ate a Thanksgiving feast. They feel full when they're actually starving. They soon die of starvation. We eat animals that die of plastic inside them. So you're basically eating your own trash like I said earlier. There's this company called Keep America Beautiful. They kept telling us, if we want to keep our country free of plastic, we need to start cleaning up. But there's a problem. Companies are making plastic faster than we can pick up. There are robots that have only one job, and it's to make plastic, when we probably pick up plastic once every 2 weeks or once every month. They make way more plastic than we can pick up. Okay, I understand the problem for us, but how can we fix it? It's simple and complicated at the same time. Whenever you see plastic, imagine the journey it will take. It will eventually get to the ocean, kill an animal, and then come back to us. Just like in the story I shared earlier about King Midas. One solution is to do what we did in the past.
collect plastic, and then give it to the store for 5 cents. That will make others want to pick up trash. But as you all know, if you want to get a weed out of the ground, you have to take it out by the root. Just like in this problem, you have to start from the root. Try finding alternatives, like not buying plastic bottles or not using plastic bags. Imagine having a trash-free world. I know this is not possible, but we can get close. Thank you.
Earth provides enough to satisfy every man's need, but not every man's need. If I told you for every person you pushed in the hall, I would give you $50, would you? Brandy McDonald was 37, with many years ahead of her, until she was admitted to Mount Carmel with increased liver enzymes. It wasn't very serious in her case, but she was given 1,000 micrograms of a drug named fentanyl. Sadly, she died within 14 minutes. This is the case with 24 other confirmed people that went to Mount Carmel. That woman could have been your mom or your aunt, and she died in minutes. The fact of the matter is, people are getting paid to prescribe these opioids that have been killing people, and this needs to stop. I'm Jack, and my mom's a nurse at OSU, and my dad is an EMT for the fire department. The fact of the matter is, people like these doctors are getting paid money so that they can prescribe these opioids that are killing. Companies like Purdue Pharma have set off the opioid epidemic and have been killing people. And people are trying to sue them, but you could say it's their fault, but is it really? Epidemic is a widespread occurrence of an infectious disease in a community at a particular time. Ohio is second in the country for most drug-related overdose deaths. In 2016, 63,632 people died to opioid overdoses. The death rate rose by 21% from the previous year. Communities are getting torn apart by this epidemic, and yet we've been trying to help them, but it's not helping anything. Doctors like William Hustle have been getting paid money to push the unneeded opioids onto people. If you put this into play for every doctor, of course some are going to use this fact. Between 2000 and 2012, the proportion of adults in the U.S. who were taking 5 or more medication nearly doubled from 8.2% to 15%. They want more money, sure, but at what point do your morals affect your work life? Many adults are getting overloaded with these prescription drugs, and if we didn't let them get bonuses for prescribing them drugs, and this would negate most of the problem. But at the same time, this would also help everyone in the medical industry. If you had the chance to make money, would you? People have an automatic yes no matter what. That's just how they are. Doctors are trained medical professionals, sure, but that does not take away that every human wants more of something. Doctors, sure, they're trained, but like I said, everyone wants more of something. What if instead of wanting money, we wanted something else like knowledge? Thank you.
By a show of hands, how many of you watch YouTube? How many of you have a YouTube account? How many of you post on it? So now, how many of you have Snapchat? How many of you have Snapchat? I'm Garrett Metzger, and I'm a content creator. Today, I'm going to talk about content creation, which for me is YouTube, but the same rules apply to all content, including social media. People actually make money off of this and have decided to pursue it as a career. According to socialblade.com, the top 5,000 YouTubers all have at least 2.3 million subscribers. You're probably thinking, wow, they probably make pretty good videos if they have that many subscribers. But what is it that we like about the content we see? Before we start, you may think this is some big self-plug, but it's not. Now, that out of the way, I'm going to share some tips. To start off, if you don't like what you're making, then don't make it. That might sound simple, but it's really important. If you aren't genuinely interested in what you're doing, you will Your viewers will probably get bored because you're bored. Also, make sure you have good audio, otherwise people won't be able to hear what you're saying. Even something as simple as an iPhone microphone would work. And above all, be original. People won't want to watch you if you're just copying someone else. You have the content you like, but how do you handle criticism? Well, don't make your content offensive, controversial, or anything of that sort where people have mixed opinions on what it is you're talking about, to prevent from having an excess amount of hate. If you do, that's a mistake you can learn from whenever you post something on YouTube. It's the same when you post something on Instagram. It's the same when you post something on your Snapchat story. It's the same when you post something on Pinterest, Tumblr, Vine, and anything else you can think of. Not everyone's going to like what you post, but you just have to deal with it and move on. And no matter what you do, don't check the comment section. Just don't. So now, you made a video and you know how to handle criticism, but how do you actually get people to come back to your channel? For starters, generally, I would say use quality over quantity so that your videos don't leave them thinking, well, that one was kind of bad, I hope tomorrow's is better. You want them to like your videos, not wishing it was better. Also, make sure you're consistent. If you don't have an upload schedule, people won't know when your videos are coming out. Trust me, it's a little hard, but it helps. These are my 3 video release dates, and as you can see, they have no rhyme or reason, but I'm also not trying very hard. Also, when you're first getting started, try to connect with your audience. So if they ask questions or comments, ask them about it. They'll feel like they know you better and they'll want to come back. Also, if you're just an exact copy of another person, they won't really want to watch you over that person unless you came first. Overall, if you have an idea for something you want to make, go for it. You don't have to know what you're doing, you just have to know what you want to do. If you're not into it after you try it, it's completely fine. Just know that you tried something new. Thank you.
Remember these. Or these. Or even this. These are trends and fads that existed from the 90s all the way up to the early 2000s. More recently, we've had the fidget spinners and the rainbow loom. People have always tried to get their hands on the latest things, and I believe that we need to stop and say, why? My name is Evan Spielberg, and I have experienced what people do when new trends and fads come out for almost 8 years now. So today, I'm asking all of you to reconsider why you bought things and why you buy things in the future. Trends and fads are things that we all want or have wanted. Something important, though, is that you need to know what you want. However, that is easy. It's just a matter of doing it. Don't just get something because other people do. Make it a priority to get what you want. I think trends and fads can have negative effects and cause unnecessary purchasing and consumption. However, there are things that I really like about them. If you notice something that lots of people talk about, something that people think looks really good, or maybe that's just really fun, consider buying it. Having something to talk about with other people it can make you feel like you belong. Belonging is one of your most powerful feelings, and it can change how you do everything that you do. If you feel like you can be liked somewhere, you can function better without the feeling that in your mind that people are going to judge you. When you belong, you do better at facing challenges, and you are more motivated. I got one of my best friends, Garrett Metzger, by getting something that was popular, and I really enjoyed having something to do with it. The thing that I got was an online game. And it's actually a great way to get friends. According to this graph, most people get their couples online. Getting something online is a great way to meet new people. Ironically though, there's not only a strong urge for belonging, but also one to be unique. In fact, trying to be like someone else can cause loneliness and depression. This makes trends really good for getting friendships and connecting with people. But after that, being yourself around your friends will make you the happiest. Something else that you need to think about is the ditter effect. This is what happens when you get something new, and you then feel the need to purchase more because your old things don't look out of place. You buy a bunch of new things that you think you need, when in your life before the new thing, you would have been just fine without it. In 1765, there was a 52-year-old man who had no money. However, he was fairly well known for being the co-founder of one of the most comprehensive encyclopedias of the time. The Empress of Russia noticed his struggle and then gave him 1,000 euros, which is
roughly $50,000 US. With that money, the first thing he bought was a beautiful robe. He then looked around at all the other things in his house, and they now seemed out of place compared to his nice robe. He then proceeded to buy more and more things which he previously did not need. This created a spiral of consumption. See, if you buy something that quickly goes out of style and is no longer cool, you may then feel the urge to buy the newest thing. You may keep buying things and spending money. Now it comes time to get the new thing again. And you think, in your life before the first thing you bought, you're in the same situation right now. Would you feel the urge to buy this thing? You would not, because you would not have bought other things in the past. People do not naturally want to go back, downgrade, and have less than you normally would. Fortunately, if you are careful about what you buy, you can eliminate this feeling that you really want something. You can buy things that already fit with what you have, try to give things to other people, and get rid of things so that they do not make you want more. An example that happens a lot is that someone buys a lot of accessories for something that they think they're going to enjoy, but they end up not doing it very much and not actually liking it. But since they bought everything, now it was just a big waste of money. So you should reconsider why you actually buy things and how things can seem good at the time, but not in hindsight. Buy what you can to make yourself happy, but not too much that you don't feel like yourself. Thank you.